Okay, let's talk about Agile. It's a really important concept for any project. Basically, Agile is a way of working that's all about flexibility and delivering results in small chunks. It's the opposite of planning everything out perfectly at the beginning, like you do with waterfall. Instead, Agile teams work in short cycles called iterations, constantly checking in with customers to make sure they're on the right track. It's about close collaboration, adapting to changes, and ultimately, making sure the customer is happy with what we're building, delivering value quickly. Think of it as a process that encourages continuous improvement. Okay, let's talk about the core of Agile, the Agile Manifesto. It's built around 4 key principles designed to guide our work. First, it's all about delivering working software *quickly and frequently, making sure we're constantly getting feedback from our clients. Second, things change, and that's totally okay. We welcome new requirements even late in the process. Flexibility is key. Then, we focus on short cycles or sprints, allowing us to iterate rapidly and test our ideas. And finally, it's vital that business people and developers work together closely, ensuring everyone's on the same page. Okay, so let's talk about why Agile has become so popular. Traditionally, projects were managed using the waterfall model. Think of it like building a house from start to finish, with very little room for change once you've laid the foundation. Agile, on the other hand, is much more flexible and responsive. It allows us to adapt to changing needs and deliver working software in smaller chunks, which means we get value to our customers faster, reduce risk because problems are caught early, and generally leads to happier teams and clients. It's all about delivering value iteratively. Okay, let's talk about Scrum. Think of it as a really well-defined approach within the broader world of Agile. Scrum is essentially a specific process or framework that helps teams build complex products in cycles called sprints. Each sprint is usually around 2 to 4 weeks long, and at the end of each sprint, you deliver something tangible. A team has daily meetings called stand-ups, where they quickly sync up their plans for the day. And there's a backlog, basically a prioritized list of everything that needs to be done to build the product. It's all about keeping things focused and delivering value regularly. Scrum really helps teams work together efficiently and adapt to change. Okay, let's talk about the core players in the Scrum team. First up is the product owner. They are like the CEO of the product. They decide what needs to get built and prioritize all those ideas. Next, we have the Scrum Master, who's basically a coach or facilitator, making sure everyone understands Scrum and helping remove any roadblocks that might be slowing down the team. And finally, there's the development team. This is where the magic happens. It's a group of talented individuals who work together to actually build the product. Let's talk about the Scrum Master. They are not a traditional project manager. Think of them more as a coach or facilitator for your development team. Their main job is to make sure everything runs smoothly within the Scrum framework, removing any roadblocks that might be slowing things down. They guide the meetings, help the team tackle challenges, and ensure everyone understands Agile principles. It's all about empowering the team to self-organize and deliver amazing results. Okay, let's talk about the product owner. They are a really crucial role in Scrum. Think of them as the champion for the customer and all the people who have an interest in what we're building. Their main job is to make sure we're always focusing on the most valuable things we can deliver. They don't tell the developers how to build it, but they clearly communicate what needs to be built. That's their product vision. They keep a running list of all the features and bug fixes, the product backlog, and prioritize it based on value. It's also their responsibility to talk to everyone involved, stakeholders, to understand their needs and give them updates on our progress. Okay, let's talk about a really important part of Scrum, the development team. Think of them as the engine driving your project forward. They are not just developers, they are a group of skilled individuals who come together to build something amazing, like UX designers, testers, and database experts, all working collaboratively. The awesome thing is they decide how best to tackle each sprint. They are self-organizing and take full ownership of the work, ensuring they deliver a usable increment at the end of each sprint, always in sync with what the product owner wants. Okay, let's talk about sprints. In Scrum, A sprint is like a mini project with a hard deadline, usually 2 or 4 weeks long. During this time, the team focuses on delivering a working piece of the product. They do this by picking items from the bigger backlog and breaking them down into manageable tasks. And to keep everyone aligned, they have a quick daily meeting called the Daily Scrum where they discuss their progress and plan for the next day. Okay, let's talk about sprint planning meetings. These are really crucial for a successful Scrum sprint. Think of it as the team's planning session where we figure out what we're going to tackle in the next 2 or 4 days. The product owner shares their top priority items, usually user stores, and the development team estimates how much work is involved, often using story points. Then, together, they set a sprint goal, which is basically a short description of what they want to accomplish during that sprint. It's all about making sure everyone's on the same page and committed to the same objectives. Okay, let's talk about sprint reviews. This is where the team gets to show off what they've been working on during the sprint. It's basically a demo for everyone involved: stakeholders, product owners, developers, and anyone else who cares about the project. The goal isn't to get feedback at this stage, it's really just about being open and transparent about the progress. The team presents what they built, stakeholders look it over, and then the team uses that inspection to adapt their plans for the next sprint. It's a short meeting, usually no more than 15 minutes, so let's keep it focused. Okay, let's talk about sprint retrospectives. These are super important in Scrum. They're all about learning from each sprint and getting better as a team. Basically, after each 2-week sprint, the team gets together for a meeting to honestly discuss what worked well, what didn't, and what changes they can make going forward. The goal is to identify areas where things could be improved, come up with some specific actions, and most importantly, build a more collaborative and open team environment. Okay, let's talk about the Daily Scrum, or stand-up. Think of it as a quick, daily check-in for your Scrum team. It's usually just 15 minutes and everyone shares 3 things: what they did yesterday, what they plan to do today, and if anything is blocking their progress. The goal here isn't detailed discussions that happens later, but to keep the whole team aligned with the sprint goal and quickly identify any roadblocks. It's about transparency and collaboration. And a good question to consider: how would you manage someone who tends to hog the conversation during these meetings? Okay, let's talk about the product backlog. It's basically the master list of everything that could be included in your product: features, bug fixes, even improvements to technical debt. It's not just a simple task list. Instead, it contains user stories like, as a customer, I want to be able to easily reset my password. It's constantly changing as we learn more and our priorities shift. The key is that it needs to be transparent, prioritized, and regularly reviewed and refined. Okay, let's talk about the sprint backlog, a really important concept in Scrum. It's basically a to-do list for your sprint, created by the development team, for the development team. It starts with the overall sprint goal, what you want to achieve during that 2-week period. Then, the team breaks down all the work needed to get there into smaller, manageable tasks. This backlog is constantly evolving as they learn and adapt throughout the sprint. It's a living document, not set in stone. Okay, let's talk about something really important in Agile and Scrum: the definition of done or duty. Think of it as your team's checklist for where a piece of work is truly finished and ready to be considered done. It's not just about completing tasks, it's about ensuring that everything meets a certain standard consistently across the board. A good duty helps us avoid misunderstandings, reduce wasted effort with rework, and ultimately deliver higher quality products. Common elements often include things like code being reviewed, tests written, documentation updated, and of course acceptance criteria have been met by our product owner. It's a shared agreement that guides the entire team. Okay, let's talk about something really important in Agile: the definition of ready. Think of it as a go/no-go checklist for your user stories. It's not just about writing down what you want, it's about making sure everything is really ready to be worked on. It helps us avoid lots of late-stage changes and ensures the team has a good understanding of what needs to happen before diving in. A GUR makes estimation more accurate, builds confidence within the team, and ultimately saves time and resources. Okay, let's talk about how you'd handle prioritizing tasks in a product backlog. It's a really important skill. You won't just be randomly picking things. There are several well-established techniques teams use. One popular method is MOSCOW, must, should, could, won't. This helps you categorize stories based on how crucial they are and what's expected of them. Another approach is the value vs. effort matrix, essentially a visual way to assess stories against their potential value and the work involved. And finally, there's WSJF, weighted shortest job first, often used in larger agile frameworks like SAFe. The key is always understanding why certain items are prioritized higher than others. It's about aligning with stakeholder needs and the team's abilities. Okay, let's talk about backlog grooming. Think of it as a regular checkup for your product backlog. It's not just about adding new features, it's about making sure everything already in the backlog is clear, prioritized, and ready to go into a sprint. During grooming, we clarify what each user story really means. Are the acceptance criteria defined? Are there any dependencies we need to be aware of? We also reevaluate priorities as things change, break down large stories so they are easier to tackle, and get rid of anything that's no longer relevant or useful. Okay, let's talk about user stories. They are a really important part of Agile and Scrum. Think of them as mini requirements, but from the user's point of view. Essentially, a user story is just a short description of something that will be built to help a specific person or role within our product. It's not about how we build it, only why the user needs it. We often frame them using this format as a role. I want goals so that benefit. For example, as a customer, I want to be able to reset my password so that I can access my account if I forget it. They need to be focused and valuable, and ideally small enough that we can estimate how long they'll take. Don't try to pack too much detail into them, keep it simple. Okay, let's talk about how a typical user story is structured. It's really all about focusing on the end user and what they need to achieve. We start with SA, which defines who we're talking about, like a customer or a developer. Then comes I want to, describing the feature itself, without getting into technical details. Finally, so that explains why this feature matters. It's the benefit for the user. For example, as a customer, I want to be able to filter products by price so that I can quickly find items within my budget. User stories are meant to spark discussions, so don't worry about getting them perfect right away. They're a great way to keep everyone aligned on what we're building. Okay, let's talk about story pointing. It's a really important part of how we estimate work in Scrum. Instead of saying this will take 8 hours, we use something called story points. These aren't about time, they're an abstract way to measure the effort and complexity of a user story. It's like, this task is roughly equivalent to this other task, and that helps us plan our sprint effectively. We usually use the Fibonacci sequence 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, which represents increasing uncertainty as the stories get bigger. The key thing is it's about comparing stories to each other, not trying to predict how long something will take. Okay, let's talk about estimating user stories. It's not just about slapping a number on them like 1 point or 3 points. Instead, it's really about making sure everyone, the product owner, the development team, and anyone else involved, is looking at each story with the same level of scrutiny. We use estimates to surface potential risks, because when something seems tricky or has a lot of unknowns, that's exactly what an estimate will reveal. Plus, the act of discussing these stories during estimation solidifies everyone's understanding of what needs to be done and how much it might take. This also helps us prioritize effectively, as stories with bigger estimates generally need more focused attention when planning our sprints. Okay, let's talk about how we track our progress in Scrum, specifically using velocity and burn down charts. Velocity is basically a measure of how much work your team gets done during each sprint, typically expressed in story points. Think of it as a historical record of what you've accomplished. It helps the product owner plan future sprints by giving them an idea of how much they can realistically expect to get done. And finally, a burn-down chart is a really helpful visual tool that shows us exactly how quickly we're finishing our work during a sprint. It plots the remaining effort against time, so you can see if things are on track or need some adjustment. Okay, so let's talk about team velocity in Scrum. Essentially, velocity is a measure of how much work your team can realistically deliver during each sprint, usually measured using story points. It's not about how many hours people spend coding, it's about the asterisk value asterisk they create. The most straightforward way to calculate it is by simply adding up all the story points completed in each sprint. But if you find your team's velocity fluctuates a lot from sprint to sprint, using a moving average, calculating the average over the last 3 or 5 sprints can give you a much more stable and reliable estimate of what to expect. Okay, let's talk about burn-down charts. They are super useful in Scrum. Think of them as a visual countdown for your sprint. They show how much work is left to do over time, usually measured using story points or ideal hours. The horizontal axis shows you the days or sprints, and the vertical axis represents the remaining amount of work. As tasks get finished, that area shrinks. It's literally burning down. They help teams keep track of progress, spot any issues early on if things are going slower than expected, and just generally keep everyone in the loop about what's happening. Okay, let's talk about burn-up and burn-down charts. They are often confused, but they are actually quite different. A burn-up chart is all about the asterisk, total asterisk amount of work still left to do, visualized over time. It's like a running total of what hasn't been finished yet. On the other hand, a burn-down chart focuses on asterisk, how quickly asterisk are completing that work, showing how fast you're getting through it. So, burn-up is about the how much left question, while burn-down is more about how fast are we going. Understanding both gives you really valuable insights into your project's progress and helps you stay on track. Okay, let's talk about epics and how they connect to user stories. An epic is like a really big idea. It's a massive feature or goal that's way too large to tackle in one sprint. It's described broadly. Think of it as the what, for example, improve the checkout process. Then we break those huge epics down into smaller, more manageable pieces called user stories. User stories are focused on delivering value asterisk to asterisk the user. They follow a simple format. As a user type, I want goals so that benefit. So, using our checkout example, one user story might be, as a returning customer, I want to be able to save my shipping address so I don't have to re-enter it every time. Epics are containers for many of these smaller stories. They give the whole thing context, while the user stories provide the specific steps we take to actually deliver that value. Okay, let's talk about spikes in Agile. Basically, a spike is like a mini research project within your sprint. It's a short, time-boxed investigation, usually just 1 or 2 days, focused on figuring out how to tackle a tricky part of a user story. It's not about writing code, it's more about exploring different options and getting a clearer understanding of the potential challenges. We might use spikes to estimate the work involved in something complicated, try out a new technology, or just see if an idea is even feasible. The goal is always to reduce risk before we start building something that might not work. Okay, so it's really important to know that Scrum is fantastic, but it's not the only asterisk way to do Agile. Let's talk about some other frameworks like Kanban, which really shines when you want to manage a continuous flow of work and keep things moving smoothly. Then there's XP, known for its focus on close collaboration and getting code out quickly. For bigger organizations, SAFe can be a good fit, scaling Agile across multiple teams. And don't forget about Lean, borrowing principles from manufacturing to maximize value. Finally, Crystal is a really adaptable framework that lets you tailor your approach. Knowing these alternatives shows you have a broader understanding of the Agile landscape, and that's definitely something an interviewer will appreciate. Okay, let's talk about Kanban and how it stacks up against Scrum. Both are Agile approaches, but they're quite different. Scrum has defined roles like a product owner, a Scrum Master, and a development team. It's all very structured with sprints that last 2 to 4 weeks. The backlog is prioritized at the start of each sprint. Kanban, on the other hand, doesn't have those specific roles, and it's about continuously managing the flow of work. It has no set iterations or time boxes, and it uses WIP limits to ensure things aren't piling up. Changes can be introduced in a time if there's capacity in the system. Think of it this way: Scrum is more like a building blueprint, while Kanban is more like managing the construction site itself. Let's dive into extreme programming, or XP. It's a really important part of understanding Agile. Think of it as a super-focused approach to building software quickly and reliably. At the heart of XP are 5 core values: simplicity, communication, feedback, courage, and respect. These guide how the team works together. XP also has some specific practices like test-driven development, where you write your tests asterisk before asterisk you write the code itself, and pair programming, to developers working side by side. It's all about getting a great product out quickly through continuous improvement and collaboration. Okay, so after you've become comfortable with Agile and Scrum, the real question is, how do you take those practices and scale them up to an entire organization? That's where SAFe comes in. It's not just about doing more Agile, it's about using Agile asterisk strategically asterisk across a large enterprise. SAFe provides a framework for aligning the whole company around delivering value, with concepts like Agile release trains, which are essentially mini scrums working together and program increments, those 8 to 12-week cycles where teams plan, build, and deliver. It also introduces lean portfolio management to ensure your investments are actually aligned with what the business needs. And finally, system-level planning helps everyone stay on the same page. Okay, let's talk about some of the roadblocks you might hit when trying to bring Agile into an organization. A big one is often resistance to change. People are comfortable with what they know, and it can be tough to shift gears. Then, you absolutely need buy-in from leadership. If executives aren't truly on board, the whole thing can struggle. Communication is key to make sure your teams are working together effectively across departments. And don't underestimate the importance of training. Agile has its own language and practices that people need to understand. Finally, integrating with older systems can present a real challenge. Okay, let's talk about handling those unexpected requests that pop up during a sprint scope changes. The most important thing is to quickly assess how big the change actually is. Is it just a small tweak or something that fundamentally shifts what we're trying to achieve? Then, it's really down to the product owner to decide if this new addition aligns with our overall product goals. We need to have an open conversation about it, ensuring everyone understands any potential impact on the sprint's timeline and quality. If it's a small change that doesn't throw things off too much, we might be able to adjust the sprint backlog and move some existing tasks around. And finally, remember to document these changes. What happened? How did it affect us? So we can learn from them in our sprint retrospective. Okay, let's talk about managing those awesome but sometimes tricky distributed Agile teams. First off, communication is absolutely critical. Think short, focused video stand-ups, not long, rambling ones. And don't rely solely on email. Use tools like Slack or Teams for quick updates and questions. Next, make sure everyone knows exactly what they're responsible for. A clear RASI matrix can be really helpful there. Then, you need to consider time zones. Schedule meetings when most people are available, and rotate the times to be fair to everyone. Finally, and this is super important, build trust and relationships with your team members. Virtual coffee breaks or online games can go a long way in making them feel connected. Okay, let's talk about Agile ceremonies. Think of them as the rhythm section for your team's work. We have a few key meetings: sprint planning, where you decide what to tackle next; daily scrums, which are quick daily updates; sprint reviews, where the team shows off their accomplishments and gets feedback; and finally, sprint retrospectives, where everyone discusses how things went and what we can do better. These aren't just about covering ground, they're all designed to keep you focused, collaborative, and continuously improving. Okay, let's talk about how we actually no an Agile project is going well. It's not just about ticking off features. That's a common misconception. We really want to understand if we're delivering real value for the customer. A good starting point is tracking velocity, which is essentially the number of story points your team completes in a sprint. But don't get too hung up on this alone, it's just one piece of the puzzle. Venn charts are also fantastic because they visually show us how much work remains and whether we are on track. And most importantly, we need to actively seek customer feedback through things like CSAT scores and NPS. Those really tell you how happy your users are with what you've delivered. Finally, always tie project outcomes back to the broader business goals. What problems were solved, and what opportunities did the project create? Agile is all about continuous improvement, so using these metrics helps us make smart adjustments along the way. Okay, let's talk about CI/CD. In Agile, we're all about getting things done quickly and learning fast. Continuous integration and continuous delivery are two practices that really help us do just that. CI is like this constant loop of merging code changes, building the software automatically, and running tests catching problems super early on. It's all about making sure everything plays nicely together. Then, we have continuous delivery, which takes that a step further by automating the entire release process so we can get working software to our users really quickly and reliably. Okay, let's talk about how Agile and DevOps really work together. Agile is all about being flexible and responding to changes, a mindset focused on building the right product through collaboration and short cycles like Scrum. DevOps, on the other hand, focuses on how we actually get that product out the door quickly and reliably. It's a culture of teamwork and automation. Essentially, Agile tells us what needs to be built, and DevOps helps us build it efficiently and consistently. They are a fantastic combination for delivering value faster and more predictably.